Welcome to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. You are watching the SEC on ESPN. The #1 team in the nation will be tested here in the semifinals today. Only one team in the entire nation has been able to defeat South Carolina. Arkansas has had 2 attempts. Will the 3rd time be a charm for these hot shooting hogs? We take a look at our bracket. This is the first semifinal of the day. South Carolina and Arkansas will get the winner of Kentucky and Mississippi State. We will have that semifinal for you after we wrap up with the #1 team in the nation, the South Carolina Gamecocks. Welcome to Greenville, South Carolina. Courtney Lyle alongside national championship winning head coach Carolyn Peck. It has been amazing what this South Carolina team has been able to do. They were perfect in SEC play. At 16-0, they won their quarterfinal game handily yesterday against Georgia. They're the team to beat right now.
Dawn Staley has built a strong foundation that has led to this point, the success that this team has been experiencing. Courtney, we've talked about it. It's the Staley standard. When you look at her ability to build a program that can go all the way and win a championship in 2017, she's had 9 straight 20-win seasons, and she is 11-1 against ranked teams. She has beaten 4 teams this season that were in the top 10. South Carolina is built Dawn Staley strong.
They have done all this with 3 freshmen in the starting lineup. That lineup will be the same here tonight. A spot in the semifinals up for grabs. Arkansas is not going to be an easy team to beat.
Well, they can shoot the 3, and if they can get hot, but they're going to have to go against a tough South Carolina defense.
One team moving on to Sunday. Who will it be?
Arkansas starting out in a zone. Only Chelsea Dungy is following around Kiki Herbert Harrigan.
They go inside to the SEC Freshman and Defensive Player of the Year, Aaliyah Boston. That is taken away by Michaela Daniels. Can't finish on the other end. Taylor Thomas is stripped. Amber Ramirez trying to get out of a slump here in Greenville. Another chance for Arkansas. This is toll-free. Chelsea Dungy caps it.
Look, this is Dungy's house. She has been very comfortable here from last season. What she did, she holds the scoring record in the SEC tournament.
She scored 103 points last season in the SEC tournament alone for Arkansas as they made their run to the championship game. Tide Harris responding.
Here we go. Is it going to be a shootout, Courtney? This is going to be fun.
South Carolina has played in these big environments. They've played in pressure situations this year. They had a huge game at home against UConn and beat the Huskies for the very first time. They are well tested for an environment like Greenville. Michaela Daniels knocks it down. Arkansas loves to shoot the long ball.
And the thing that they do is they penetrate in and they make the defense just make one jab toward that ball handler, and that gives the 3-point shooter just enough time.
SEC tournament record 17 threes in their 2nd round game. Stepped out of bounds. It'll be Razorback ball.
Watch the drive. Ramirez drives in, and Cook bites at it just for a second. That gives Daniels just enough time to shoot the 3.
Michaela Daniels, just a freshman, but has earned her starting spot, and that's going to be a travel on Amber Ramirez. She averages 14 points a game, but Amber Ramirez has struggled here at the SEC tournament.
You know, in looking at the way the other players for Arkansas shooting the ball and Ramirez struggle, this is her first SEC tournament. She was a transfer. She sat out last season, so she's still got to work at getting comfortable.
Arkansas wants to go fast. You can already tell that, but it's taken away. Herbert Harrigan. 2 turnovers for the Razorbacks. And Carolina gives it right back. Dungey at the elbow. Zia Cook.
Cook has struggled shooting from the floor in this tournament as well.
Averages 12 points a game. She just had 2 points against Georgia in their quarterfinal game yesterday. It's already going to be a fast-paced, scrappy game, I can tell. Smart play by Zia Cook to draw the foul.
Height and size is where South Carolina has the advantage. Their ability to continue to crash the offensive glass.
Taylor Thomas is called for her first foul. Arkansas brings in a trio of new players. Rokia Doumbia checks in. Kiera Williams, the hero of yesterday's comeback win, along with Atiana Golden. Golden, number 0 in that gray jersey, will be running the point, but Kiera Williams, just outstanding. So much poise to crash the boards, get to the free throw line, and hit the game winners.
How rewarding for a senior. She started for 2 years and has battled through some injuries and has had to come in off the bench, and Mike Neighbors compliments her about what a great teammate she is. So for her to be able to seal the deal from the free throw line, I was excited for her.
Golden's shot is off. Arkansas hasn't scored in over 2 minutes. These two teams met twice during the regular season, and it was South Carolina, of course, getting the win in both of those games because they went a perfect 16-0 in SEC play. That's not easy to do.
No, but when you've got the firepower, and especially that strong power game inside, paint points is where South Carolina can make a living.
And last meeting against Arkansas, just as you said it, South Carolina had 50 paint points against the Razorbacks. Atiana Golden drives and kicks to Doumbia. Golden for 3. Inside to Bree Beal, working on Toll-Free. Both teams shooting in the 20s right now, percentage-wise. Williams loses it. 3 turnovers for Arkansas. Bree Beal, the freshman, count that bucket, go into the line.
Bree Beal, I feel, has been disrespected. She's earning her respect here in the SEC tournament. Aggressive finish, bully ball.
Toll-Free for 3. Got it. Clutch. Ramirez from deep finally finds the range. Carter comes up short. Batted towards the corner. Wilson throws it up, and that does it. Arkansas wins it.
Unbelievable.
What a day Arkansas had yesterday. Mike Neighbors' crew, if you turned on this game early on, they were down by 17 in the first quarter, but they led for just a few seconds. That is all they needed to pull out a huge win over Texas A&M, the number 4 seed. It was wild, Drea Carter.
Absolutely, Courtney. It was so insane, such a crazy environment. And I talked to Chelsea Dungey today, and she said she wasn't worried at all. Even when they were down 17, when they were down 15, she said they broke the lead into small chunks. Every huddle was positive. Coach Mike Neighbors kept his cool, and they ended up getting the win. They just held it together the whole game.
Just crazy to be down by 17. Second largest comeback in SEC tournament history for the Razorbacks.
Talking to Mike Neighbors, said, how much do you think your experience last year in this tournament played into that? And he said 1,000%, immeasurable how much that experience gave his team a lot of confidence.
Last year, Arkansas was the 10 seed. Nobody expected them to be playing on Sunday, yet they fought their way. They upset South Carolina in the quarterfinals, made their way all the way to that championship game where they lost to Mississippi State. But what a building block for Mike Neighbors' program.
Look, that win, he said, was one that, listen, the way you finished, they finished the SEC season, that helped in recruiting, showing that everything was paying off. Everything that they were putting in and the style of play could win games for you.
Well, it shows your recruits what you can do. It shows your current players that what they're telling you every day in practice, it can work. Makes a huge difference. Zia Cook all by herself. South Carolina 9 straight points. This Arkansas offense, though, is so deadly. They've got scorers at all 5 positions. They can be right back in it.
The thing that Steffi Sorensen said, you can get enamored with the beauty of offense, but it's the defense that South Carolina brings. That takes them next level. That makes them the #1 team in the country. When you get the turnover, you watch Zia Cook, she knows immediately. Turn the jets on, head the other direction, and get the easy 2.
Cook's got 4 points. Carolina adding to this 9-0 run. Kiki Herbert Harrigan draws the foul on Dungy.
The freshmen for this South Carolina team get so much attention. What has been overlooked is the contribution, the maturity, the attitude, the nastiness that is brought to the floor by Kiki Herbert Harrigan.
One of the seniors was a part of that 2017 national championship by South Carolina. She knows what it's like to win at the SEC tournament, too. They've done it twice, won the whole thing.
Guys, I talked to Kiki Herbert Harrigan yesterday, and she said she thinks her biggest area of growth is how she can channel her emotions. Her competitive spirit used to cause her to spaz out. That's what she said. And now it just causes her to lock in, and that's the difference.
Well, Drea, that's a sign of maturity, too. Know how to use that passion for the game.
Well, you just saw her defensively. She is one senior that is locked in, and she has been a great leader by demonstrating by example. I want the big girl to knock that 3 down.
I think we saw a perfect example of that on senior day, because Kiki Herbert Harrigan, it's her senior day. She comes out crying, and then all of a sudden locks in and has double-figure points in the first quarter.
Well, Ty Harris knew, get the ball to Kiki and get her locked in with the game, see the ball go through the hoop, and that carried out throughout that whole entire game.
16 points, 6 of 10 from the field in their quarterfinal game against Georgia yesterday for the senior, Herbert Harrigan. Buckets.
You noticed, Courtney, in the stands, Kiki Herbert Harrigan's got her own fan club. They got that Mad Kiki t-shirt on, and that's a term of a compliment. Mad. It's not that she's mean. She's just mad to the bone.
That's that passion coming out. Well, we were talking to Mike Neighbors about Kiki Herbert Harrigan, and he said, you know, she's really playing at another level right now, and she's one of those players, you want her on your team, you bet you don't want to play against her, though.
Look, she's nasty and lashes.
Ooh, I like what you did there.
You know?
You take your cookie and look good doing it.
That's good. That's it. But it is so impressive in watching her grow from her freshman year to her senior year, even after her junior year, went into the portal, considered transferring, and she has the self-awareness to know it was personal, it was with herself, and she compliments how much Dawn Staley has helped her grow, and it was the right decision for her to stay and play her senior season at South Carolina.
First points for Arkansas since the 8:34 mark here in the first quarter. South Carolina hustling, but Arkansas gets it. Oh, Ty Harris jumped in the passing lane.
Like the matchup of tenacity between Chelsea Dungy and Kiki Herbert Harrigan. Keep an eye on those two. Very similar games.
And Arkansas hasn't had a field goal in over 7 minutes. Down to Taylor Thomas. Dungy gets pushed right out of her shoe. They call it on Herbert Harrigan. Look, the crowd's not going to like it because there is a ton of garnet in the stands. Lots of South Carolina fans.
Well, the aggressiveness gave her a flat tire.
I hate it when that happens. That's the first on Herbert Harrigan. It must be nice to come to your conference tournament and have a home crowd. But we're not far from Columbia, South Carolina.
Look, this is the house that Dawn built. I believe these Gamecock fans would follow this team just about anywhere.
Greenville about 2 hours away from Columbia, so you can only imagine why there's so many South Carolina fans in the stands. And their team's #1 in the nation. Lily Grissett was coming inside. Turnover number 3 for the Gamecocks. Excuse me, number 4.
Arkansas is having a really hard time of beating that first-level defender. Their offense is built on relying on making the defense have to help. That's how they get the three-point shots. So far, South Carolina's done a nice job.
Grissett crashing the boards. Here they go, so fast to Destiny Henderson. Another steal. And the foul is going to be called on Alexis Tolfree, trying to catch up to Ty Harris.
So much of the shoot-around this morning was about defense. And Dawn Staley talked about, we want to have Arkansas 2-us, not 3-us. 2-us means make 2-point shots, tough twos, and not give up the 3. In order for that to happen, you have to have tremendous accountability one-on-one.
Herbert Harrigan. Quick putback by Victoria Saxton. You can count it. They're going to double check at the monitor. Oh, I don't know. It was close. I thought maybe fingertips. Yeah, she still got it.
Yeah.
She still got it.
Clock's on 0. It's still in her hand.
They're going to look at this and probably take that bucket off the board. But either way, for the 13th time this season, South Carolina has held its opponent to single digits in the first quarter. They wave off the bucket. It's a 10-point lead for South Carolina. Just the second time that Arkansas has only scored in single digits in a quarter.
South Carolina came into shoot-around today with these new hoodies on that say "For the Culture." And if you think back to the UConn game, Dawn Staley said that win was for the culture. And I asked Ty Harris what that means to her today. And she told me that everything they're doing right now is for everybody that came before them. Even going back to Temple, from players to managers to everybody that's involved in what Dawn Staley has built. That's what "For the Culture" means to her. Now, Carolyn, you were a coach, and Dawn Staley has a little bit bigger picture of what "For the Culture" means.
Well, in talking to Dawn, she talked about that when she talks about "For the Culture," there are only a small group of programs that have been traditional winning programs. When she came to South Carolina, that was not the case. There are a lot of programs across the country that is not the case. And she has demonstrated that if you create the right culture, you can build a winning program. She wants this program to be the example, to be that shining light, to be an inspiration to so many other programs, that if you build it slowly, you build it the right way, you build it with a strong foundation, this too can happen for your program.
I think we're seeing it with the players that she has on this roster right now, what she's built. All those players that came through that helped them get to that first national title, these players know the work and the sacrifice that they put in, and they want to mirror that.
I'm going to go a little bit further back to a player by the name of Elisa Welch that is from the state of South Carolina, that made the commitment, that saw the vision of what Dawn Staley was building, and her play, her dedication, her effort, what she left on the floor attracted other great players to want to come to the South Carolina program.
South Carolina has the top recruiting class in the nation playing for them this season. 3 of those freshmen have been in the starting lineup every game. Finally, Chelsea Dungy gets a field goal on the board for Arkansas. First time since the 8:36 mark in the first quarter.
But even though Arkansas scored, that's still a victory for South Carolina because it was a 2. Did not get the 3-point shot.
Arkansas has made 28 threes in the SEC tournament this week. That's over 3 games now if you include this one. We're still early on. I mean, they are such a long ball threat. It's incredible. And almost every player on the floor can hit one.
Well, 16 of 26, that's the 3-point stats of just 2 players for Arkansas, Chelsea Dungy and Alexis Tolfree.
Kiara Williams. Herbert Harrigan with authority straight to the rack. Daniel short on the 3 for Arkansas. Just shooting 17% from the floor are the Razorbacks. Meanwhile, Carolina is lighting it up. A huge 3 from Destiny Henderson. What a lead for the Gamecocks.
Listen, everything just happens faster against these guys. They're big, they're better. I mean, they're better than we played against. So they're going to close out quicker. You got to be sharper. You got to be crisper. We can't be long and flowing. They got to be short, tight, and compact.
Mike Neighbors told us he's always honest with his team, and he said, look, there are no holes in this South Carolina team.
He's very impressed with South Carolina, but I'm impressed with Mike Neighbors. He's not sitting there telling them, kind of browbeating them, but telling them how they can correct what they're doing wrong to keep confidence with his team of their possibility of getting back into this ball game.
Arkansas had a huge 9-minute and 43-second scoring drought here in the first half. That could be a good sign for Amber Ramirez. She has struggled from behind the arc, which is a place she's thrived all season. She has 101 3-pointers this year.
101 in one season.
That is 4th in the nation.
Well, because Arkansas likes to score in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock, so you're going to get a lot of shot opportunities.
Lily Grissett looking for the second chance. Kiara Williams shuts that down. If there's one thing we've learned about Arkansas is that if they're down, they're not going to be any less confident. We've seen them multiple times come back. They were down by 17 points yesterday, came back to win. They were down several times last year in their SEC tournament run and got all the way to the championship game.
Because of the way they can shoot the 3 ball, that keeps them in with the possibility of every game.
Lily Grissett whistled for the foul. She will take a seat. Kiki Herbert Harrigan back in for the Gamecocks.
Now keep an eye on South Carolina's defending of ball screens. They have been switching, and Amber Ramirez got switched off with Victoria Saxon. A post player sometimes gives you a little extra room, which would give shooters room to shoot.
No room for Ramirez there. Rokia Doumbia. Victoria Saxton denies her. And Ty Harris is bumped from behind. Arkansas was trying to hustle to get back down the floor.
Sophomore Victoria Saxton is having a tremendous defensive tournament. Her timing at swatting shots, she has been the eraser for South Carolina.
First foul on Kiara Williams. Oh, Ty Harris knew it was coming back and she was going to take it. Tatiana Golden, sweet take. Got to get back in transition or South Carolina will make you pay. So will Arkansas. It's a shootout. Amber Ramirez is back.
Shoot or shoot.
They want her to keep shooting. Mike Neighbors told us we have faith in her. They put the ball in her hands yesterday when they needed a bucket.
2 rough games for Amber Ramirez. I knew it was only a matter of time. Game 3.
Offensive foul on Kiara Williams. Her second. So now Erin Barnum, the redshirt freshman out of Little Rock, will check in.
You know, and Barnum is the cousin of Kiara Williams. Keep it in the family in Arkansas.
Winner moving on to the championship game tomorrow. They will either get Mississippi State, the defending SEC tournament champ, or Kentucky.
Zia Cook just needs to see one of those go down.
So does Tolfree. She doesn't have any points yet. But Ty Harris offensively is working. 8 points now for Harris to lead South Carolina.
Out in transition. Look, Ty Harris knows when to give it up, and she knows when to keep it herself. Such a smart point guard.
She has 8 points and 4 assists already.
She's been so fun to watch in this first half. As soon as it is a change of possession, South Carolina running in transition, watching the eyes of Ty Harris, survey the situation of where, kind of like looking at a menu, where she's going to order it up.
It's a fancy menu that Ty Harris has. Oh, yeah, Amber Ramirez. You see it go through once. It's going to happen multiple times for that shooter.
Mike Neighbors told us that really to get his team in what he calls interested, something's got to happen. With Amber Ramirez getting heated up, I believe his team's real interested right now.
She's got 9 points already, had 9 points yesterday. Destiny Henderson has been crushing it too. Her second three ball, she's up to 10.
I love it. This is great for women's basketball. Players that can score against tough defense.
Michaela Daniels, pretty floater. And then the steal. Oh, Ramirez is wide open. Seriously. I mean, Destiny Henderson coming off the bench with 13 points. Aaron Barnum with some contact.
With the depth for South Carolina, that's another element that makes them contenders for a national championship. And that right there, post-to-post passing.
They just let Daniels pull up at the free throw line. Nobody stopped her. And Dawn Staley's going to call timeout. Michaela Daniels just left open to hit one. We got a good one here in Greenville.
South Carolina has been off to the races. As soon as the change of possession, they're so quick going from offense to defense to recognize, get out in front of the pack, get down the floor, get the easy two. Listen, this is how you rack up quick points. Attack before the defense can get set.
14 fast break points for South Carolina. They've had 18 points in the paint. That is where they thrive. And controlling the boards, but you got to watch out for Arkansas because even though they had that almost 10-minute scoring drought earlier on and here in this first half, they're shooting it now and hitting.
Amber Ramirez has heated up. So now if Arkansas can get Chelsea Dungy and Alexis Tolfree, get them going, we'd have a good game.
Kiki Herbert Harrigan. Dungy looking for space. Can't get around Boston. Cook the fade away. Bree Beal is there for the second opportunity. Largest lead for South Carolina.
Bully ball, number 12, Bree Beal.
And Michaela Daniels came to play today. She's up to 9. And Bree Beal's going to the line. Beal may not have the flashy numbers on the stat sheet, but she is one of the toughest, one of the hardest working players that South Carolina has.
She does so many things that don't show up in the stat sheet. She is always assigned defending the top player on the opponent's roster. And it's a lot of times she may just be the one that gets the deflection that didn't show up in the stat sheet, or one that gets a player tied up that is a 5-second call. She doesn't get credit for that. but to have a freshman like Bree Bill on your team, invaluable.
She's one of the top newcomers in the SEC at number 11 overall. And look how many South Carolina players are on this list. That's why they have the #1 recruiting class in the nation.
Zy Cook, Aaliyah Boston, Bree Bill, Leticia Amihir. The depth at South Carolina.
Oh, they ruled it out of bounds off of South Carolina. I thought Arkansas had touched it. Yes, they will flip that call.
As soon as the ball went out of bounds, Ty Harris jumped up and called the underneath out of bounds. She knew what Dawn Staley was going to be thinking right away. These two are on the same page.
It's a mind meld for
Synergy.
sure. Synergy.
Yes.
There it is. Zaya Cook's got a 3 to go. South Carolina, impressive. 20 paint points, 14 fast break points in the first half. They haven't lost this year when leading at the half.
6 players in double figures. When you're the #1 team in the country in the semifinals of your conference tournament, that's how you flex.
Andrea Carter is standing by with Dawn Staley.
Coach, Arkansas has thrown multiple defenses at you. How have you been able to put points on the board?
I think we're pushing the ball. I think what we're doing is protecting the bag, protecting the rim, pushing at them. I think Destiny Henderson is doing a great job knocking down shots and pushing tempo.
And they went 9 minutes without scoring in that first half. What's been the key to your defense?
Well, it didn't feel like that, because we know that they're lurking. They're never out of basketball games, so we gotta tighten up. I think what we're doing, we're matching up, and we're making them to us for the most part in the half court. We just got to get a hold of them in transition and not get them open threes.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you.
You are watching the SEC on ESPN. The #1 team in the nation is trying to make its way to the SEC Tournament Championship game. South Carolina with a 48-29 lead at the half over the Arkansas Razorbacks. Welcome back to Greenville. Courtney Lyle, Carolyn Peck with you. Yeah, they put up 48 points in that first half, but South Carolina's defense was pretty solid too.
Well, there's one reason why South Carolina is dominating the paint points, because they're not allowing any paint points for Arkansas. Anytime penetration has come inside, you've had the enforcement of the size, the post players. First it was Boston, then it was Saxon. Woo, that sophomore was something else off the bench. But the defense, the interior defense for South Carolina has been on point for Dawn Staley.
They've used that defense to give them 14 fast break points too. A 20-10 advantage in the paint for South Carolina. Amber Ramirez, though, did start to get hot for Arkansas, which is a good sign. She's already matched her point total from yesterday. Mike Neighbors wearing a mic. Let's go all access with the Razorbacks.
He's telling you you're tired, I know. All right? I'm going to look for how fast we're getting back to determine whether you're tired or not. And when some of our fastest people are the last ones back, one of two things is we're tired, we're ready to go home, or we've given up. One of those three things, that's all it can be. All right, I'll sub you to keep coming back. Don't play tired.
Mike Neighbors, his squad has had a habit of coming back. They have trailed by 12 or more points at the half 3 times. All of those have been to these South Carolina Gamecocks, Drea.
Well, Courtney, you heard Coach Mike Neighbors talking about how they weren't getting back on defense, but one thing he told me coming out of halftime is he can tell they're tired because they're not pushing hard on offense either. He said they always find a way to speed up on offense. He feels like they were tired and frustrated in the first half.
And this Arkansas team is used to the pace that we've seen them play at. They're used to an up and down game. It's nothing new.
Well, they're used to keeping the pressure on their opponents, running at their opponents trying to catch up defensively. They have been, Arkansas, chasing South Carolina because once South Carolina is getting possession, they're all out, full speed ahead, running the other direction.
Tolfrey's first field goal, that's another problem. They got to get Alexis Tolfrey or Chelsea Dungy going to catch up with Ramirez. That's their big three. Dawn Staley told us you got to stop at least one of those.
You hope that you can stop two of them. But if you take one out of the three, it betters your chances.
Arkansas ball. Arkansas has been off to slow starts in this SEC tournament. This is their third game, and they only scored 8 points in that first quarter. In the first half, there was a scoring drought for the Razorbacks that spanned 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Chelsea Dungy going up with power, gets the foul called.
The speed of this game has really offensively made Aaliyah Boston ineffective. And then defensively, when Dungy gets her shoulders between Boston and the backboard, that gives her an opportunity to cause Boston to have to foul.
That's her second foul on Aaliyah Boston. Oh, rolls around but bounces out. Dungy started at Oklahoma, but then has thrived at Arkansas, the fastest to 1,000 points at Arkansas. She did it in 49 games.
She's so strong. She can shoot the three. She can also get to the free throw line.
Taylor Thomas said, no, that's not coming in here. Dungy drives. Boston does a good job of not fouling. They swing it over to Ramirez in the corner. Boom! Amber Ramirez is feeling it. Finally, her fourth three-pointer tonight.
And if Tolfrey gets turned up, Arkansas can get right back in this one.
Turned up. I like it.
Arkansas all over the offensive glass.
Well, they know they can go after it. Aaliyah Boston's got 2 fouls. She has to be careful. Yeah, that's going to be an offensive foul, her third. She swung an elbow. Victoria Saxton was waiting to check in for her. Just getting frustrated.
Boston and Thomas mixing it up down low. The throw of that elbow out of frustration gets the third foul on Aaliyah Boston.
Ninth turnover for South Carolina, the third here in the third quarter. Great defense by Cook. Gives it up to Herbert Harrigan. Arkansas doesn't look tired right now. No bucket for Zaya Cook, but she will draw the foul as she drives into the paint. Call that one on Chelsea Dungy. Aaliyah Boston on the bench for South Carolina with 3 fouls. Boston only has 2 points.
Mike Neighbors doing the substitution he promised. He said, if you run hard, I will sub you out. And now the next group bringing that level of energy.
South Carolina has not scored in the third quarter. Rebound of the putback for Kiki Herbert Harrigan. Those are the first points for the Gamecocks in the second half.
And look, don't look at the officials begging for calls right now. You're playing to make it to the finals tomorrow. You got to woman up.
Off the hand of Herbert Harrigan.
Well, there's no quit in this Arkansas team.
They got that break at halftime, raced out to an 8-0 run.
Mike Neighbors does a tremendous job of knowing how to push the buttons to get his team to reload, to get turned up, to speed things up and get in that offensive mindset.
Well, Ramirez is wicked deep. It doesn't matter tonight. She can hit it from the parking lot.
You got that right. She put it up, dropped her hands down. When a shooter drops their hands down, that's when they know that bucket's going down.
And then the layup from Tollfree might have tweaked an ankle, went down immediately underneath the basket, is still down on the ground. Meanwhile, on the other end, Kiera Williams is called for her third foul. I think it was just right after that layup. Tollfree came down a little funny.
Ooh, may have happened after the layup when she turned, starting to come back.
Clifford came out hot, 3 of 5 here in the second half after going 0 for 6 from the field in that first 20 minutes. And they're just going to take her back to the locker room. We will keep an eye on Alexis Tollfree. It's a player averaging 16.6 points per game. She's hit 41% of her three-point shots this season.
She's had a tremendous senior season, career highs in just about every category. And in talking to her about that, she said at the end of last season, she was shooting 27% and told Mike Neighbors, I'm not a 27% shooter, I'm better than that, and really worked in the offseason.
Yeah, we'll get you an update. Drea Carter working on getting an update on Alexis Tollfree. Right now, momentum, though, shifting towards this Arkansas team. They were down by 19 points. There's just a renewed energy in this second half for Arkansas, and we've seen that happen so many times.
Mike Neighbors said just something needs to happen. He couldn't put his finger on what specifically it needed to be, but there would be that key moment that would swing momentum into the favor of his team. I think it was that long-distance three-point shot when Amber Ramirez knocked down the three and then dropped her hands down. Look, the rest of the team said, okay, we can do this.
It's contagious. She's hit 5 of 7 from three-point range. Dungy knocks that one down. 10 points for Chelsea Dungy. Arkansas knows what it feels like to beat South Carolina on this floor. They knocked the Gamecocks out in the quarterfinals last year of the SEC tournament. Man, she has just been money offensively. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Zia Cook holding her head. They're going to take a look at Zia Cook. Zia Cook, Atiana Golden was going up for the shot, and as she comes down, her foot hits the face of Zia Cook around that right eye, that forehead area. Meanwhile, Alexis Tolfree has come back out onto the floor. She's currently on the Arkansas bench right now, went down after hurting her leg. Drea Carter's got an update for us.
That's right, Courtney. Alexis Tolfree, she was in the training room for a little while. I saw her come out. She did a couple up and downs in the hallway. I talked to the athletic trainer. She said Tolfree is good to go.
Well, that's good news, Drea, because they need her. Ramirez and Dungy are both in double figures, but she's that third option in the triple threat.
Well, the second one of the Splash sisters. She needs to get it going.
Not on the floor just yet, but she is on the Arkansas bench. Good news to hear that she's good to go. All 6 of her points have been here in the third quarter as Arkansas has held South Carolina to just 7 points coming out of halftime. They've scored 16.
They've turned up their energy on the defensive end and running hard, which is what Mike Neighbors asked of his team coming out at halftime.
South Carolina shooting just 25% from the field in the third quarter.
Arkansas just in a 2-3 zone, especially with Aaliyah Boston on the bench for South Carolina.
Golden, the crossover. To the hoop she goes. Oh, and Dungy, the hustle to try to save it. Mike Neighbors challenged his team to stop playing tired in that second quarter.
Watch Lily Grissett. She's on defense, but she just runs next to IT Golden. You've got to get down and in front. Run ahead of the ball. You can't run easy and then just think you're going to block shots. Arkansas will make you pay.
Razorbacks ball under 4 minutes to go in the third. Offensive foul. And it's on Kiera Williams, her 4th. So Aaliyah Boston comes in for South Carolina. She has 3 fouls. Just 2 points.
Arkansas in a packed-in zone.
Back to Boston for 3. Her second career three-pointer.
That just don't make no sense. You got a 6'5" center, power player, a freshman that can hurt you inside and knock down the 3.
If that gets consistent, woo, dangerous. Harris will push. Lily Grissett fights for it. Jump ball. Possession arrow pointing to Arkansas, though. Tolfree back on the floor for Arkansas. All 6 of her points have been right here in the third quarter.
She's gotten a bit of rest. I don't think she needed it, though.
Solfrey comes out of the corner to get it. 3 seconds in the shot clock. Shot clock violation. Destiny Henderson had 13 points in the first half. Those are her first points of the second half, but she is lit. Oh, it's getting loud. Arkansas calls timeout.
And a lot of it is Ty Harris understanding that Aaliyah Boston has some ground to make up. Slow starting in the scoring department, but she has pushed in transition, recognizing where the big girl is and taking advantage of the size that she has over Arkansas.
Let's take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch. Ty Harris and Aaliyah Boston are both on this list as the final ballot has come out. Along with Ryan Howard, we will see her coming up in the next game as Kentucky gets set to face Mississippi State.
Impressed with South Carolina's defense today.
Herbert Harrigan swats it.
Watching Ty Harris direct traffic.
You just need to direct it in the hands of Destiny Henderson because she is on fire.
That's where Ty Harris was pointing to make one more pass. She knows Henderson is hot.
10-0 run for South Carolina right now. Destiny Henderson is shooting 70% from the field.
Keep going to her. That would be my call. Just in that zone, overload, cutters go through. As the zone shifts to match up, it creates lanes.
Taylor Thomas is called for her third foul.
I asked Aaliyah Boston if she was nervous coming into her first SEC tournament. She looked me dead in the eye and she went, no. I'm excited. And I think one thing that has prepared her for this, when you look at South Carolina, these players come into Columbia and they play in front of a fan base that leads the nation in attendance. What does that do? That prepares you for playing in your conference tournament and beyond.
Well, it also helps you get to bring some of that fan base 2 hours away with you to the conference tournament.
No question.
It's been 12 straight points for South Carolina. Arkansas came out of the half hot. Can they get a shot? Dungy for two, short.
Arkansas trying to stay in this thing. Amber Ramirez from three, long distance, but they got a long way to go because South Carolina's got a three-point game of their own.
Ty is the consummate point guard. She's been that from day one until now. She's responsible for the success of our team this year and our success that we've had since she's been our point guard.
The most important thing to me that Coach Staley taught me is just being yourself, just being you, no matter what background you're in, no matter where you're at, just being you. Just love who you are.
The relationship between Ty Harris and Dawn Staley is thriving in Ty's senior season. I mean, you can tell they are almost like one. It's like Dawn Staley's back on the floor because she's got Ty Harris out there who knows exactly what she wants. And Ty Harris, along with Aaliyah Boston, are on the Wendy's Wooden Watch. They are finalists. A couple of other players in the SEC, Kennedy Carter made it, and Ryan Howard, who we will see later. Look, there is one representative from the SEC from every class. It's impressive.
It's a sign of the amount of talent in the SEC. We talk about it all the time that after last season, we thought that the talent level may have dropped off in the SEC. Oh, not so fast. There's a lot of talent in this conference.
Ramping up.
Especially the young ones, the freshmen, and the impacts they're making. We got a great one coming up in the next game in Rickea Jackson.
She only had 23 and 10 yesterday.
Is that all?
That's it. Pretty good night.
Another special player in the next game. SEC Player of the Year, Ryan Howard. Oh, and by the way, she's just a sophomore.
Arkansas came out of the locker room at halftime and scored 8 straight on South Carolina, but that energy faded and Carolina was able to catch back up. Look at Boston. That's the funness she told us about.
Were you reading my mind?
Always.
You must have ESP.
We got synergy. It's like you and it's like Dawn Staley and Ty Harris. We're like that.
That's it.
I got you.
Yeah. Because right here, the physicality, Aaliyah Boston likes it, welcomes it, likes to get in the mix.
13th double-double for Aaliyah Boston. She's just adding to that freshman record she's already set.
The skill set that Aaliyah Boston came into college with, it's just ridiculous. The maturity, the post presence that she has inside. Or I should say outside too. She hit a 3 today.
Her second career 3.
Guys, I talked to Coach Fred Schmiel, who works with the post players on South Carolina, and he said Aaliyah Boston is not even close to tapping into her fullest potential. He said she's working on getting her shot off faster, up and under moves, and she's got a really mean jump hook on the left and right. She's just got to get confident using those things in games.
Can you imagine how fun it is for the coaching staff of South Carolina to watch her in practice and just know that they have that repertoire to call on and pull from for the next 3 years?
Can you imagine how not fun it seems for the rest of the SEC? Zaya Cook, give me that layup. And Amber Ramirez can't miss right now. You get a big layup, and then that quiets the crowd with her 6 3-pointer.
That last attack by Zaya Cook may be just the play to get her going.
Lily Grissett was the only one crashing the boards. That's effort, that's hustle. Largest lead for Carolina. Timeout, Arkansas. South Carolina up 75-53. They are 7 minutes and 33 seconds away from the SEC Tournament Championship game. How could you not love that little pup? He's ready for some hoops.
He'd love some of that Caesars.
Man, Lily Grissett for South Carolina, just an effort play.
5 rebounds. Watch Grissett crash the boards. Number 24, that second effort. Now understand this. Lily Grissett went from a 4-player to a 3-player over the summer. And one of the things that she had to do was get her body back in shape. I asked her about that. She said, I just got my body back to what it had used to be. She had hip surgery that I didn't even know about. And so after the hip surgery, she had put on some weight, gotten a little bit out of basketball shape. She said, this is me. This is who I am. So Dawn Staley's got to love who Lily Grissett is right now.
Props to her for taking up that challenge of moving positions, and she has been so great for them off the bench.
It's just another factor of size, and especially rebounding from the 3 spot. Woo! South Carolina's got to love that.
It's crazy how good South Carolina's depth is. It doesn't just start. We talk about the 5 starters all the time, the 3 freshmen in the starting lineup. It's everybody. Destiny Henderson is one of those players who comes off the bench and gives it everything she has, including a career high tonight.
The poise, the focus, and this is a player that even started a few games last year and was willing to accept her role as being the leader of the second group, that phenomenal bench of South Carolina, because she knew she was going to have an opportunity to contribute.
Career high 21 points for Destiny Henderson. 13 of those came in the first half. Tolfrey has not hit a 3 yet.
You're reading my mind, Courtney. I was thinking the same thing.
It's like I have ESPN or something.
Absolutely. Not 2 either.
Yeah. A cutting Taylor Thomas to the rack, fed by Ramirez.
But again, Dawn Staley said, make them to us. Don't give up those 3s.
Arkansas has hit 8 threes. They average almost 10 a game. Meanwhile, South Carolina has now hit 11.
The question on the mind of so many people when it comes to South Carolina is, they get the paint points because they can rebound, go the offensive glass like that, but South Carolina can score from the perimeter as well.
As Mike Neighbors said, there are no holes when you're preparing for South Carolina. That's a tough scout. Too much on the pass to Saxon. The winner of our game will get either Kentucky or Mississippi State. Those teams are in the building. We will get to see a Kentucky team who just dominated Tennessee yesterday. For the very first time, Kentucky has beaten Tennessee 3 straight times.
Well, you've got to think that Kentucky has in their mind, they want a little redemption, have another shot at South Carolina. Mississippi State as well, because they played down to a nail-biter earlier this season.
And Kentucky won the first meeting with Mississippi State. Both teams shot over 50% from the field yesterday in the quarterfinals.
But these are 2 teams, Mississippi State and Kentucky, very defensive-minded. They take pride in creating their offense, in forcing their opponents to turn the ball over.
Dungy gets the first. Chelsea Dungy's got 12. Lily Grissett.
I've talked to some coaches about South Carolina, and they said that South Carolina's second team could beat some of the starters on a lot of other teams in the NCAA.
What a luxury to have if you're Dawn Staley. And you could tell that she really does like this team that she has as players and as people.
Well, it's a sign that a coach really likes their team when they have a consistent starting lineup. And watching them at practice, Dawn Staley and her staff, they don't have to coach effort. They can spend time talking about technique. They can talk about strategy. because their players, they have a good time at practice too. In between drills, when they have their water break and their time, there's that typical cut-up time, but when the whistle blows back between the lines, they are all back about business.
You know, we've talked to some of the other coaches when they're preparing to play South Carolina, and a lot of them will tell you that this Gamecock team has taken on Dawn Staley's personality, and we asked her about that, and she said, you know, I think it's a respect thing, and it's not just me coming in and coaching them at practice every day. It's getting to know the team, and they know each other. They respect her. They want to be like her. They want to win for her.
But she said in order to do that, the players, you have to know them, but they have to get to know you. It's not a matter of just spending time with them at practice and at games, but it's the outside, off-the-court time that she invests in her players.
Jump ball, possession arrow to Arkansas. There's been a Staley standard set at South Carolina. They are the 2017 national champs. They've been to the Elite Eight 3 of the last 5, and they've won 4 of the last 5 SEC tournament titles. They are trying to be the first team to win a 5th SEC tournament title in 6 seasons. It would just be the 3rd team, along with Tennessee and Vanderbilt, to have 5 SEC tournament titles. They're the only ones to win 4 straight.
Making history. We were talking about the relationship of Dawn and her players, and she said, look, in the game between coach and players, she said, I'm undefeated. She doesn't lose that one. But she said she doesn't have to battle with her players. They take care of business. They understand what it is to be a Gamecock and her expectations.
That's a great moment there between Ty Harris and Destiny Henderson as Henderson checks out a career-high 21 points for Henny.
One thing Coach Dawn Staley has said is, I love rules. They're guidelines to success. I don't want kids that aren't disciplined and don't like rules, guys. She said no young person is going to make rules for her program.
Yeah, the only rule maker is going to be Dawn Staley. But it's impressive, and you've got to compliment her staff, and specifically Jolette Law in recruiting that #1 recruiting class. And it's not based on just the recruits' numbers of what they're ranked. She understands what type of players Dawn Staley needs in her program.
I mean, how often does it happen that you get 3 freshmen come into your program, you put them in the starting lineup, and you're the #1 team in the nation for 8 straight weeks?
I cannot think of a program when that has happened. 3 freshmen.
Every game.
And only 2 seniors on the team.
And by the way, you defeated 11 ranked opponents.
You just think about the future, too, of South Carolina. Zia Cook running the point now. I believe the keys will be passed on to her to run this team next year. She said she's learning everything that she can from Ty Harris right now.
What a great player to learn from. South Carolina is projected to be the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. We will find out the bracket a week from Monday. We'll see Arkansas in that tournament too. Charlie Cream has them as a 7 seed after their win yesterday. Fans get on their feet as Zia Cook and Victoria Saxton check out.
An impressive display from South Carolina today.
Coming into this game, you were worried about how this game was going to go because Arkansas got so hot at the end of their game yesterday, and they're such a dangerous team.
When you have Alexis Tolfree and Chelsea Dungy that had really settled in the first games of this tournament, now I knew it was only a matter of time for Amber Ramirez. If all 3 of those are clicking on the same time, anything could happen.
Yeah, I don't think any team wants to face Arkansas in the NCAA tournament.
No, they're extremely dangerous.
Let me here. Wow, Gamecocks have hit 12 threes. That's just her 7th three this season. Zaya Cook's got to ice her face where she got kicked,
She got stepped on.
Yeah.
She's tough. She grew up playing football.
That's right, she did. 14 points tonight for Cook. Ami here, a huge block. 8 blocks for the Gamecocks. Foul on Aaron Barnum. South Carolina looks like they will hang on to this lead. Just a minute 15 to go. Moving on to the SEC championship game. Those two seniors, they know what it's like. Aaliyah Boston's about to know what it's like tomorrow to play in an SEC tournament championship game.
Well, this group has so much fun. Their chemistry has so much to do with the success that they have had thus far.
South Carolina won the regular season, their 5th regular season title in 7 seasons. They went a perfect 16-0. And now they're trying to win the SEC tournament. They did that same thing when undefeated in the regular season and won the SEC tournament back in 2016. Made it to the Sweet 16 that year.
A lot of people that I talk to compare this team to the 2017 team, and they think talent-wise by position across the board, because that was really driven by, you had Asia Wilson, Alicia Gray, and Kayla Davis. This year's team, there's talent at all 5 positions.
Oh, Olivia Thompson, the bench is going crazy for Thompson, the freshman.
They get excited about defensive plays. You got to love that.
South Carolina will get the winner of Kentucky and Mississippi State. That game coming up about 25 minutes after the conclusion of this one. Five seconds on the shot clock. Alyssa Wesselek. Time is going to run out, and the #1 team in the nation has not lost to an SEC team this year. They are going to the SEC tournament final, a place they have gone 4 previous times and never lost in the SEC tournament championship game.
And when they continue, if they continue to play like they did today, and it wasn't just the starters, Destiny Henderson off the bench, 21 points for South Carolina.
25 straight wins for the South Carolina Gamecocks. This one might be the sweetest because that puts them in the SEC tournament championship game. They will look to win their 5th SEC tournament title. Only 2 other programs in the SEC have hit that number. Arkansas, their season's not done. We will see them in the NCAA tournament. They're projected to be a 7 seed, according to Charlie Cream, but their run in Greenville is over. So many players have stepped up for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Destiny Henderson was huge tonight, and she's with Drea Carter.
Destiny, Arkansas tried to fight back in the 3rd quarter. How were you able to hold on to the lead and get the win?
I just had to stay focused, especially come off the bench. I just had to
get my mind right and help my team win the game.
And, you're known for your defense, but you scored 21 points tonight. What was working for you on offense?
Just staying positive, honestly. Helping my teammates score easy baskets, getting up and down the floor quickly, using my speed, taking great shots. I just been really trying to work on that and just help my team win the game again.
And Dawn Staley talks about how special it is that everyone accepts their roles on the team. Why do you think that's happened?
We all respect one another. We all know how to play good with one another, and we just all be happy for each other.
And she also talks about how great of a family this is. How dangerous do you think your team is moving forward?
We're very dangerous. I think we're very dangerous. We love one another. We communicate with one another on and off the court. We just got to build that bond on and off the court and just continue to win games, and that speaks for itself.
Destiny, thank you.
Thank you.
Up to you, Alyssa.
Try to make it hard for them, make them 2 us rather than 3 us, and obviously that's a hard task against a team like Arkansas, but for the most part I thought we held them in check and we made a few threes of our own.
Dawn, 25 straight wins for you guys, a remarkable number. What do you attribute to the laser-like focus we see from your team when they take the floor?
They only want to win. They only want to win, and they approach practices that way. And then the games are just like practice. So there's no change in how we, motivate. They come and get work done in practice. We come and get work done in the games, and we're more like ourselves.
Yeah. Does it remind you of you as a player? That attitude of just wanting to win?
Me? Well, I've always wanted to win, yes. Yeah. But I wasn't always as enthused in practicing.
Okay.
The truth.
Speak your truth, Coach.
Oh, hey, Kiki, you confused me today. I couldn't tell Arkansas from South Carolina the way you were running the floor. This was a team, Arkansas, that loves the break, loves to score quickly. You all put it to them. Where did that come from? You run. You guys always run, but today, this was impressive.
Just knowing this, when I go home, so we got to go big.
Kiki, the Mad Kiki, I've seen it everywhere. You've got your own fan club. Where did that start? Take me through how that originated and
pretty much, I get a little upset during the games.
Okay.
Comes from a competitive spirit, but, I try to channel it into my game, and that's how it is.
It's pretty good. Coach, do you like Mad Kiki?
I love Mad Kiki in her senior year.
I love Mad Kiki.
I didn't like Mad Kiki in her freshman year. Only because bad plays used to link up with Mad Kiki. Now, Mad Kiki, she uses it to energize herself and actually to make a play. She gets more focused because she wants to make something happen on the positive side of the ball.
The rebounding was really impressive. You guys out-rebounded Arkansas on your missed shots. You had 28 offensive boards. They had 23 defensive boards.
We knew coming into the game, just from the previous 2 games that we played them, we out-rebounded them by a lot, and we wanted to come in with that type of focus. If we missed a shot, just rely on your teammates having your back. So shoot it with confidence, knowing that if it doesn't go in, we got a really good shot at getting an offensive rebound.
Dawn, Kiki, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Congratulations on the win.
You didn't ask me about Champ. Champ is in Greenville.
Champ's here? Oh my goodness. All right. If Champ is anywhere near this arena, the rest of the day we need to know about.
Champ's in the locker room.
All right, I'm out. Thank you guys so much. Congratulations on the win. We will find out who South Carolina is playing here in just a couple of hours. Mississippi State and Kentucky set to tip off in just a few. Now, this is the 5th time that South Carolina has reached the SEC Tournament Championship game, all of which have come the last 6 seasons. The Gamecocks are a perfect 4-0 when playing for the SEC Tournament title and have won all 4 by double digits. Certainly a dominant performance, a dominant last couple of years when you're talking about South Carolina. Once again, going undefeated in the SEC regular season so far, winning 2 games here in Greenville, punching their ticket to Sunday's championship game.